just wondering though how she knows it's under 1600 calories, because I did not see in the video that she was measuring anything, weighing anything. I would not have been able to eat the size of her meals. Food doesn't have to be complicated, and it is incredibly important to eat enough on this medication. I think therapy is incredibly important while on this medication. She is pretty big, so 3200 doesn't seem that much. Although I do wonder on a GLP-1 if she is able to eat that much. Please make your own sandwiches. Hi everyone, my name is Mima. I used to be obese. I lost all the weight through a combination of GLP-1 medication, a whole foods diet, and weightlifting, and now I am training to be an endurance cyclist. So today we are going to be reacting to what I eat in a day on Ozempic or GLP-1 TikTok videos. I thought this would be a great and entertaining way to share a lot of my learnings and my experiences having been on GLP-1 medication for over 14 months now, losing 65 pounds, turning basically my entire life around from having a 70-80% ultra-processed food diet, having a sedentary lifestyle, and being class 1 obese to now basically being an endurance cyclist, having an 80-20 whole foods diet, and having lost 65 pounds. I talked about this on my full video recounting my entire GLP-1 journey, and in that video I talked about how much knowledge and information my dietitian and obesity doctor have given me over this last 14 months that I've been on GLP-1 medication. And rather than like sitting in front of a camera and just like yapping about it, I thought that reacting to these videos might actually be a more entertaining, more fun way to share that information with you guys and share my own experiences, my own preferences as well, in the hopes that that might inspire you, open up your options a little bit more, especially if you are on GLP-1 medication right now and you feel that you are hitting a wall in terms of your nutrition and actually meeting your calorie needs, your minimum calorie needs to just have enough energy to go through the day. Before we start, I would just like to put out a disclaimer. I am not a medical professional. I am not licensed in any way in any state in the United States or any country in the world to practice medicine or give health advice. I am only sharing my experience and what I've learned from the medical professions that I've worked with since the start of my GLP-1 journey. So please, this is just one for entertainment purposes, and other is for you to garner some inspiration, for you to ask your own medical doctors, your own healthcare professionals that you work with in your own health journeys, your own GLP-1 journeys. So please do not take whatever I say as medical advice. I only suggest things for you to keep asking questions to your own healthcare providers. But with all that said, let's look at these TikToks.
38 pounds down in the last 16 weeks with the help of a GLP-1 and a calorie deficit. And here's a realistic.
Okay, so I have no problems with protein coffee. Specifically, I have tried a number of kind of like mixtures, but I have found that mixing my coffee with any kind of protein shake that's like the pre-made protein shakes, it just doesn't taste good for me. I know a lot of people like it, and absolutely nothing against that. It's just my preference is there's just a taste with the protein shakes, the pre-made protein shakes with coffee that I don't like. But I have tried it with just unflavored whey protein powder, and that seems to work for me a lot better. So if you have like taste issues with mixing coffee and any kind of pre-made protein shake, try an unflavored whey protein isolate powder and see if that works for you.
Stick what I eat in a day. Every morning off the same with a Profi coffee. It gives me 30 grams of protein to start the day, and it gives me my caffeine fix so I don't need any throughout the entire day.
So I do like her breakfast. I just wish she had a little bit more fiber in it. This was my problem during the start of my GLP-1 journey, especially like the first month and a half, is that because your body is starting to get used to the medication, you are not able to eat as much. And that's why people and a lot of medical professionals have said, try to prioritize protein first before eating any other macronutrient. And to me, what my dietitian and I focused on was protein and then fiber. Those were the two things that we focused on. So if it was time for me to eat, because I practiced mechanical and scheduled eating during my first 2 months of GLP-1 medication, just to make sure that I was eating something, I would have protein and then fiber and then a carb and some fats, but I would eat the protein and the fiber first before anything else. So pretty good with like the protein pancakes, the blueberries and the scrambled eggs, but I would actually suggest for people who are just starting on their GLP-1 medication, or you're still having a bit of a challenge to actually eat like a full meal, have a lot more of the protein in it. So eggs, a lot more of the eggs, add like egg whites to your eggs to make it more protein heavy, and add a lot more fruits and maybe some veggies as well.
Not really big on breakfast, but the kids were home, so I ended up making us some pancakes. I had some eggs and some blueberries, and those were actually the premier protein pancakes. So of course we got a little extra protein in them. And I've been doing the little snack bowls, so I have some rice.
This is a pretty good lunch. It's really balanced. I like it very much. I would actually prefer not to use deli meats for this, just because you get more like bang for your buck in terms of calories and protein if you actually use something like non-deli chicken breast, non-deli ground chicken. And of course there are also these studies about how some deli meats are not pretty healthy. I don't have that at the top of my head right now, but that's just me. That's just a preference for me. This is, again, pretty balanced, good carbs, good veggies. There's a lot of protein in it, especially with the cottage cheese. I would not have been able to eat this kind of meal during the start of my GLP-1 journey, I would say. I probably would have been only able to eat the protein and some of the pickles and some of the veggies, but otherwise, they would have been very challenging for me.
Rice cakes, I have some cottage cheese, some pickles, some veggies, some pepperoni, burrata, and honestly, these are my favorite type of lunches because I can just snack on it whenever I'm hungry. Oh my god, looking at this video, please do not judge my stove.
Okay, just something nitpicky for me. Alfredo sauce and marinara sauce are very easy to make at home. There is a like 4-ingredient marinara sauce recipe on the New York Times cooking app, and I'll probably link it down below if you guys are interested in looking at that. And it's a lot less calorie dense. You can control how much sugar goes into it, because a lot of these marinara sauce, like pre-made marinara sauces, have sugar added onto it, and that can disrupt your eating a little bit at the start of your GLP-1 journey. Like, it's really a lot easier to stick to whole foods, a lot easier for you to eat at the start of your GLP-1 journey if you're sticking to whole foods. So I would recommend making your own Alfredo and marinara sauces and just like keeping them. Like making a big batch, you can freeze them as well. They're very easy to make.
It looks so freaking dirty. I don't understand. Anyways, for dinner, I had like this Marry Me chicken kind of meal. I don't know what you want to call it, but we don't use the sun-dried tomatoes.
Look, this looks actually pretty good. It is a little bit too saucy for my taste because I prefer to actually have a lot more of the spinach, a lot more of the chicken, and less of the sauce, and just having the sauce kind of like added flavor for the dish. But this would be leveled up so much and would be a lot easier on your stomach, again, if you made the marinara sauce and if you made the Alfredo sauce on your own.
Just added in a little bit of marinara, Alfredo, the mini little...
I love pasta. By the way, I missed eating pasta at the first couple of months of my GLP-1 journey because I would get full on pasta so easily. So I had to like wait until I was like past the 6-month mark to eat a little bit more pasta, because if I ate pasta, I would not be able to eat anything else, to be honest.
A bow tie one, I don't know what they're called, whatever. Then I added a whole bunch of spinach, some fresh cheese, and oh my god, this was so freaking good. Altogether, I had under 1,600 calories today. 38 pounds down in the...
I'm just wondering though how she knows it's under 1,600 calories, because I did not see in the video that she was measuring anything, weighing anything, but otherwise, I think it was a pretty good what I eat in a day on GLP-1 medication. My one thing too is that we don't know how long she has been on the medication. Like, she has lost 38 pounds. So it is like the longer you are on the medication, the more appetite that you regain once you have like your body has established the use of the medication. So that's one thing too, is that I would not have been able to eat the size of her meals at the start of my journey, but definitely now I can do that. My Maintenance is around between 18 to 1900 calories at the moment with my my increased muscle mass. So I eat a lot, especially with the training that I do.
What I eat in a day on a GLP-1, down 70 pounds in 9 months. I've been maintaining for a year now. Today I went ahead and I threw some chicken in the air fryer. This is probably one of my favorite chicken to grab. It's easy, it's quick, and it's not too much breading. A lot of chicken that you can buy from the store like this has too much breading on it. This one does not. It's lightly breaded, gets you your protein, but still kind of gives you like that fried flavor, I guess.
So I also have lightly breaded chicken tenders in my freezer because sometimes I just like to put it in the air fryer and that's what I eat for a snack to also up my protein. I am very careful about these prepackaged meals, so I do look at the back to make sure that there are no super ultra processed ingredients in them. And I think my brand is the Apple Organics one. I'll search it and then pop it here right beside me so you guys can see what I use. That is very easy, 370 in the air fryer for 12 minutes. And if I just add like a couple of small ones, that's already around 15 to 20 grams of protein for a snack, which is pretty good.
So I air fry those, and then I go ahead and I got a bed of spinach and spring mix. You can do whatever lettuce you want. I prefer to do like a spring mix because it's a little bit more nutritional than just like iceberg lettuce. I would go ahead at the beginning of my week, I will prep. I like to do cherry tomatoes, radishes, and green onions. I will cut those in just like little pieces. You actually can see it. It's on the bottom here. This was my container that I had that in for the week. So this looks like a lot of food. It's really not. It's actually really flat. But I prep those at the beginning of the week.
That is actually fine for a size, even if it's a lot, because vegetables are not really calorically dense. They have a lot of really good micronutrients and a lot of fiber, which is really important for your GLP-1 journey. But this is like a pretty good size for someone who's been on a GLP-1 for a while, and she has said that she has been on it for a year. So I can imagine that her appetite is her appetite is back basically, or it is at a normal level that compared to when she started her journey. So this is a great size, especially with the chicken that's on top of it. A really good meal, I would say.
Crunch gives lots of good flavor. I like cherry tomatoes because cherry tomatoes just have more flavor in general as well. But this is my lunch for today. It's easy, simple, it's quick. Food doesn't have to be so complex to get in all the things you need, okay?
Absolutely agree with that. Food doesn't have to be complicated. I have a lot of staples that I like to eat now. I have a lot of frozen fish that I like, and I just pop like a couple of frozen fish pieces in my fridge to thaw them, and then whatever's thawed, that's what I cook for my post-workout meal. I do meal plan the evenings just because my husband, is home from work and we are having dinner together. So I do tend to like our dinners to be a little bit more flavorful, a little bit more complicated, but none of them are like overly complicated that I have to spend more than 45 minutes in the kitchen. That was one of like the most important and critical lessons that I learned from my dietitian during the first 6 months of my GLP-1 journey, is that identify like what foods you like and bring those foods down, break them down to like their whole food components, and then have them in the kitchen a lot. So me, I like fish, I like rice, I like having onions and garlic in my meals. Cherry tomatoes, like she said, is one of the things I like. I like a spring mix. So I like a lot of those. Like I have them in the kitchen ready, and I don't have to really think super hard about what I'm going to prepare for a meal. So it's not really meal planning so much as having what you like on hand, so that you will never open up your fridge and say that, oh, there's nothing for me to eat, because you have everything. You just put stuff together.
So for breakfast this morning, when I make my coffee, so I put literally like a quarter cup of water in the bottom of a cup. I grab 2 spoonfuls of this instant coffee. And then what I do from there, so you had a really stout, it's almost like espresso, like a shot of espresso. Then I take and I pour my protein shake on top of that.
Again, I am not a fan of this specifically because I don't like the taste, like the combo taste of the pre-made protein shake and the coffee. but to each their own with this. If this is like important for you to get your protein in on your GLP-1 journey, please by all means do it. It's just a taste factor for me. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. And I actually love the Core Power line, but my preferred flavor is the chocolate. So you can imagine like a chocolate coffee is not that great. And I did try the vanilla too. I tried Nuri vanilla with my coffee. Nothing just really worked for me. So I am sticking to mixing it with unflavored whey protein powder with my coffee if I need to, but otherwise I really try to eat my protein right now.
Alone, I don't quite use all this. I would say it's probably about 15 or so grams of protein that ends up going actually in that, but I also eat breakfast alongside of this. Meal choices don't have to be hard, okay? I didn't even finish. I had made a second one because I thought I was still hungry from this one. It's still sitting here on my cutting board. It was just an egg burrito. Put a little bit of salsa on that, but it got me 2 eggs. It got me another 15 grams of protein with my protein coffee in the morning. This right here is probably another 20-ish grams of protein. I know that doesn't sound like much, but that gets me about half my protein in a day. I will probably sneak in another protein shake this afternoon. And for dinner tonight, I set out some chicken thighs as well as some sausage. So that's gonna be my dinner. I'm gonna throw some.
So she is talking a lot about like protein shakes. I also really depended a lot on protein shakes at the start of my journey. I don't do so much now. Like I said, I try to eat my protein now because I like big meals with my training plan, my training schedule. Big meals are really important for me to stay satiated, stay energetic, and to stay recovered as well. So I don't really have protein shakes as much anymore. I do have them in my fridge. I do have a preferred protein powder now that I just whip up in a pinch if I am running late for my appointments and I need to eat. If I have a very, very packed day and I know that I will not be able to like have access to a microwave to microwave a meal plan that I have. So I will need to like put together something like I did the other day with basically like cut up fruits, my chicken tenders, and a protein shake. Like that's essentially what my protein shakes are for now. They're really something to fill in a gap, especially during the busiest times of my week. But otherwise, again, I try to eat my protein as much as possible.
Green beans with it that I got from the store the other day, and that's my day. Food doesn't have to be hard to meet your goals. Keep it simple. Make, small substitutes. You want to be able to have quick, easy meals. Look at your different options you have. You might pay just a little bit more for something when it comes to easier options that are maybe a little bit healthier. I promise you they're worth it in the long run, but don't make it hard. Find something that fits you. And just because this works for me doesn't mean that this necessarily right here is going to work for you. So all I'm on here to say is keep it simple. Keep it simple. If you are starting your journey, don't count calories. Don't worry about calories right now. Focus on your protein.
So I don't know if I agree with that specifically because my dietitian and I did prioritize, of course we prioritize protein, but we prioritize getting enough calories for me to kind of just like go through about my day. I think my maintenance, not maintenance, but like my base calorie, and I would have to check and pop up the information there, but my base calorie at that time, that was like the number one thing. I had to meet that just so that I could just function throughout the day. Now, 1,300 calories for me at that time was eating at a caloric deficit, so that wasn't the issue. It's just getting enough food in your system to be able to function like a normal human being throughout the day with an acceptable amount of energy. So I do recommend counting calories at the start of your journey just so you can catch up if you know that you are not eating enough. And it is incredibly important to eat enough on this medication. But if that is something that if counting calories has been incredibly challenging for you and also has like brought up a lot of issues with you, I would suggest speaking with a therapist. I think therapy is incredibly important while on this medication. But yeah, don't like knock the counting calories thing like off of your journey. It is really, really important to have that information about yourself.
If that's one thing I could give to anybody starting their journey, it would be to count your protein, not your calories, because in time, your protein, if you're getting your protein in.
Yes, count your protein too. Like, when you're counting calories and you're using the right apps for counting calories, it will also count your protein. So that's why counting calories plus prioritizing protein and fiber was the important tenets for me during the first 6 months, especially the first 2 months of my journey. But otherwise, this is good advice.
You more than likely are within the right allotment for calories. So hopefully this is helpful. I will try to post more.
Well, there are a lot of protein products, protein sources, I would say, that are low in calories, like shrimp. I love shrimp. Shrimp is one of my number one sources of protein, favorite sources of protein, and they are not calorically dense. So you would have to eat a lot of shrimp to be able to meet a certain caloric intake, but they are very protein heavy. So that kind of that makes it a little bit more challenging for you to meet your caloric goals by just tracking the protein. I also eat a lot of fish, and fish tends to be less calorie heavy than other protein sources, but they're also very high in protein and also good fats. So I just want to point that out. You should try to track both.
If you guys have or want any ideas, as far as lunch, breakfast, snack ideas, let me know what you guys want to see and I will try to post more of what I have.
Everything I eat in a day as a 32-year-old mom who has lost 100 pounds on a GLP-1. My dietitian has me based on a diet of 3,200 calories, which sounds insane, and it is.
She is pretty big, so 3,200 doesn't seem that much. Although I do wonder on a GLP-1 if she is able to eat that much. But, I wasn't that big too, so I wouldn't know what that experience would be like.
Never have one time reached that. We finished off the day today with 1,239 calories remaining.
Well, that just answered my question. It is going to be very, very hard to eat that much on GLP-1 medication. So
first things first, we started off with our sugar-free Americano with cream, and she is delish. For breakfast with my coffee, I shared some
So the cream for me would have been D-Day at the start of my journey. That would have really, really upset my stomach on my GLP-1 journey. So I do recommend being very, very mindful about which kinds of foods give you which reaction. So I did have a food journal at the start of my journey just to kind of note what my reactions were to certain foods. So a lot of heavy dairy, full fat dairy this, super greasy foods, super sugary foods. Those were the ones that really that really, really messed up my stomach a lot, and would put me down for the count for the next day. I would not be able to eat. So I really stayed away from those. And that really helped me with my transition to 80-20 whole foods diet, because the whole foods were the only things that I could eat that would not upset my stomach on a GLP-1 at the start of my journey. So that just kind of carried over for me.
Scrambled eggs with my son. He ate about one and I ate about 3 of these.
So she ate 3 eggs. I would recommend doing maybe 2 and a lot of egg whites. A lot of egg whites for volume, plus added protein with less calories if you are on a weight loss journey. But also the egg whites would be less heavy. So if you do need to eat a little bit more on your GLP-1 journey, I would recommend subbing 1 egg for egg whites.
Scrambled eggs. And when I say we devoured these eggs, we devoured these eggs.
Wish you put a little bit more fiber in there too. That really, really helped me a lot, especially at the start of my journey, the fiber content, when I was doing a lot of the tracking and figuring out what actually worked for my stomach and what didn't. The fiber really helped ease a lot of it wasn't a lot of discomfort, but if I ate something wrong for my stomach, the fiber, getting a lot more fiber in is actually what helped me ease that through for a day, and then I would be back to normal the next day.
That's delicious. The eggs were pretty good too. Here is my empty coffee. I crushed it. That is a 12-ounce cup, by the way. Today I'm volunteering at my daughter's preschool, so I am prepping my protein shake for the day. I've been using the GNC Lean Shake with Slim Bands, and you cannot...
I do not know what Slim Bands is. I'm sorry. Can someone tell me in the comments what Slim Bands is?
Not live without the Slim Vans. If you're on a GLP-1, trust and believe. I mix mine usually with 2% milk, but I've been trying to be good, so today we're mixing it with water. And I will eat this at quote unquote
2% milk isn't bad. I do my non-fat Fairlife milk just because one Fairlife milks have a lot more protein in them, but also because I love dairy milk, but I can't do full fat now because of my genetic high cholesterol. So I'm really watching the saturated fat that I am consuming. Like, that's one of the things that I'm tracking very closely right now. Saturated fat, added sugar, and of course my protein content. But just get non-fat milk. Like, it gives you a little bit more protein, less calories, but it's also like a little bit of added flavor when you mix it with protein powder.
Lunchtime while we're at preschool today. I do have to say this also has 200 milligrams of caffeine in it, so that really helps get you through the day as well. I just took my shot yesterday, so I feel like I did not eat a lot today, but when everything was put into my calorie tracker, it added up to just a little bit over 2,000 calories. On the way to work, I picked up
That's crazy though, 2,000 calories. So that coffee must have been a lot, and then the eggs. Hold up.
A sugar-free raspberry and peach lotus. During lunch, I downed my protein shake, and I had 2 little bites that was left over of Piper's peanut butter and jelly sandwich and 2 little fruit snacks that she did not finish. Here is proof of my water intake. I did end up with about 86 ounces today. On my way home from preschool, I was still feeling hungry, so I stopped at Subway and picked up a 6-inch turkey sandwich with...
Please make your own sandwiches. They are so much better for you if you make your own sandwiches. Plus, you can control a lot more. Like I said earlier with another video, the video previous to this, that you can just have all of the stuff that you like to eat in sandwiches ready for you at the fridge. And then if you are heading out, just put them together and then go. And like get a cooler or something like a small one. I have one, and it is a lot better for you to do that, and also a lot cheaper for you to do that than going to a place like Subway and eating like a subpar sandwich. I'm just sorry, but like you get fresher produce when you buy them yourself. You're able to pick whatever meats you like, whatever breads you like, etc.
spinach, pickles, and olives, as well as a bag of baked.
I would not have been able to eat that bag of chips at the start of my GLP-1 journey just because that would have upset my stomach again. It's the processed and the oils that they use for the chips. It took me a while before I was able to start eating chips again.
Lay's. For dinner, I had leftovers from last night. This is a kid-sized bowl of mashed potatoes and stew. And for a snack, I had cranberry and jalapeno dip with 3 Ritz crackers. And then I finished it off with a 0 sugar root beer, my favorite. I had a Better Good strawberry fruit strip when we were at my niece's basketball game. And on the way home, picked up a small Coke Zero from Sonic, and it was perfect. Everything
not the best, but she was eating at a caloric deficit, so she is going to continue losing the weight if she does eat like that while on GLP-1 medication. But I would have preferred to have like more whole foods, not bought from places like Subway, because that, well, again, this is my experience, right? My experience of like being on GLP-1 medication is that the whole foods really helped things along at the start of my journey. Like, it helped me eat the amount that I needed to eat, the nutrients, both macro and micronutrients that I needed to eat to be able to keep going. And I think like that really prepared me for the next step of my GLP-1 journey, which was integrating strength training into my program and then becoming an endurance cyclist, basically. So like that's one of the things I think that was one of the most precious things that GLP-1 gave me, was the space, both mentally and physically, to be able to switch to whole foods and building a lot of habits and systems at home so that I wouldn't make excuses for myself to go out and say, especially during like my busiest weeks and days where I'm going out and being like, oh, I'm just gonna pass by Chick-fil-A to eat something because, you know, I had nothing at home, blah, blah, blah. So that like really helped me with building those systems that I could integrate into my busy lifestyle so that my progress wouldn't be hampered or I wouldn't regress with the progress that I've made on GLP-1. So I am doing really well on that. Like it's a part of my life now. Have I had fast food since being on GLP-1? Absolutely, yes, but it's planned. It's not like a unplanned thing where I'm like driving and I realize, shit, I'm hungry and I need to go to a fast food place and eat. So I am well prepared now for a lot more of these go, day-to-day, busy, stressful type situations. All right, so I have to go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a new thing for me today. I do not like the TikTok platform a lot. I have to get used to navigating it and just watching videos, going back and forth on it. But I hope you guys learned something as well. If you are on a GLP-1 journey or would like to start a GLP-1 journey and have questions for me, please don't hesitate to reach out. Put your questions down in the comments below, or you can go over to my Instagram and I'll put my handle right here. I am more than happy to answer any of your DMs, to answer your questions about being on a GLP-1, how is eating like on GLP-1s. I know that it can be a little bit daunting to start this journey sometimes, but it has changed my life. GLP-1 medications have changed my life, and the medical team that have been on my program from the very beginning on this GLP-1 journey have changed my life. So if you are looking to change your life as well in the way that I have, through lifestyle change, diet change, and just being overall healthier, more active, more energetic, less stressed, I am open to your questions and just your thoughts, rants, vents, whatever. So yeah, thank you guys so much for spending your precious time with me today. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, happy riding.